a Minnesota farm, a camera strapped to a combine, and somehow millions of people couldn't stop watching. What started as ordinary workdays in the dirt quietly turned into one of YouTube's most unexpected success stories. No flashy edits, no fake drama, just real farming, real problems, and real moments that hooked viewers far beyond rural America. But this rise didn't happen overnight, and it definitely wasn't accidental. Behind the calm voice and massive machinery is a story of timing, risk, and decisions that changed everything. Because once the internet discovered this farm, nothing about the future would ever be the same. Long before millions of subscribers and viral farm videos, Zach Johnson was just another guy trying to keep a family farm alive in a changing world. The Johnson farm in western Minnesota wasn't built for the spotlight. It was built on generations of early mornings, tight margins, and constant uncertainty. Like many farms, it faced rising equipment costs, unpredictable weather, and pressure from people who had no idea how modern farming actually worked. Zach grew up inside that reality. Farming wasn't a content strategy, it was survival. When he eventually picked up a camera, it wasn't to chase views or build a brand. It was a way to document everyday life on the farm and maybe explain, once and for all, what farmers really do. At the time, agriculture had almost no voice online, and most people only saw it through headlines or stereotypes. What Zach didn't realize was that this honesty, the mess, the stress, the long days, was exactly what people were missing. And once those first videos went live, curiosity turned into loyalty fast. But the attention brought new pressure, and the next phase would test everything he thought he knew about farming and the internet. The turning point didn't come from a big announcement or a carefully planned upload. It came from one simple decision: letting the camera roll during real farm work. Early videos from MN Millennial Farmer weren't polished or dramatic. They showed combines breaking down, weather-ruining plans, and long days that never seemed to end. And strangely, that's what people loved. Viewers who had never set foot on a farm suddenly felt like they were riding along in the cab, learning how food actually gets produced. The comment sections exploded with questions, support, and curiosity. Some videos started climbing faster than expected, pulling in thousands, then hundreds of thousands of views. Zach wasn't chasing trends. He was answering real questions in real time, without dumbing anything down. As the channel grew, something unexpected happened. The algorithm kept pushing these videos far beyond farm country. City viewers, students, and even critics of agriculture were watching until the end. But with that growth came scrutiny. Every upload now carried weight, and not everyone liked what they saw. And just as momentum was building, a new challenge surfaced that could have slowed everything down. What really separated this channel from everything else on YouTube was how unfiltered it felt. There were no exaggerated reactions, no forced drama, and no pretending farming was easier than it is. Zach Johnson explained mistakes as they happened, admitted when plans fell apart, and showed the stress most farmers usually keep off camera. That honesty built trust fast. Instead of talking at viewers, he talked with them. Comments weren't brushed off, they shaped future videos. Questions turned into full explanations. Criticism turned into conversations. For many viewers, this was the first time agriculture felt understandable instead of mysterious or corporate. But transparency came with a cost. As views climbed, so did opinions. Some accused the channel of pushing big ag narratives. Others claimed it made farming look too easy or too hard. Every upload now had the power to educate or upset thousands of people at once, and that tension created something unexpected. The channel wasn't just entertainment anymore. It became a front row seat to a debate most people never realized they were part of. And once that door opened, there was no closing it. As the channel kept growing, it stopped being just a YouTube hobby and slowly turned into something much bigger. What viewers didn't always see was the pressure building behind the scenes. Upload schedules had to fit around planting, harvest, breakdowns, and weather that never followed a plan. Every video now represented not just a farm, but a public image of modern agriculture. With millions watching, brands started calling. Sponsorships, partnerships, and merch opportunities appeared almost overnight. The challenge was balance. Lean too far into business and the channel could lose its trust. Ignore the opportunity and the farm would miss out on real financial stability. So Zach Johnson did what he always had, kept things transparent, Viewers were told what was sponsored and why it mattered. Still, not everyone was convinced. Critics questioned motives. Some claimed the channel had sold out. Others argued it gave corporations too much visibility. But the audience kept growing, proving one thing was clear. People weren't just watching farm work anymore. They were watching how a farmer navigated fame without losing credibility. And the hardest test was still ahead. With massive reach came a wave of attention Zach never planned for. As the channel grew, so did criticism, from both inside and outside the farming world. Some viewers accused MN Millennial Farmer of promoting industrial ag and hiding the downsides of modern farming. Others went the opposite direction, saying the videos made farming look too stressful and risky. No matter what, someone was upset. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Every explanation about chemicals, equipment size, or crop yield sparked debates that stretched for days. Zach chose not to avoid it. Instead, he leaned into education, breaking down tough topics calmly even when accusations surfaced. That approach earned respect from many, but it also put a target on his back. The pressure wasn't just online. Representing farming to millions meant every mistake felt amplified. One misworded explanation could spiral into headlines and clipped reactions. Yet the audience kept growing, proving people wanted honesty even when it was uncomfortable. And just when it seemed like the criticism had peaked, a new responsibility emerged, one that went beyond views or revenue. The channel had become a voice for an entire industry, whether he wanted that role or not. By this point, the channel had crossed a line most creators never expect to reach. Zach Johnson wasn't just sharing his own farm anymore. He was shaping how millions of people understood agriculture. Teachers used his videos in classrooms. Non-farmers referenced them in debates. Even critics admitted they were watching. That influence came with pressure that never clocked out. Every video had to walk a fine line between honesty and responsibility. Show too much struggle and people questioned whether farming was broken. Show too much success and accusations surfaced about hiding reality. There was no perfect balance, only constant judgment. At the same time, the farm still needed to run, crops still needed planting, equipment still broke at the worst moments. Filming didn't pause real life. The camera was there during long nights, tight deadlines, and decisions that affected livelihoods, not just views. Yet instead of stepping back, Zach doubled down on education. He explained why farmers do what they do, even when it sparked backlash. Because by then, the mission was bigger than YouTube. The channel had become a bridge between two worlds that rarely talked, and walking that bridge was exhausting. What makes this story different is that it still isn't finished. MN Millennial Farmer didn't peak and disappear. It stabilized, evolved, and quietly changed expectations for an entire niche. Farming content was no longer background noise. It became something people actively searched for, trusted, and shared. And dozens of new creators followed the same path, inspired by the proof that real life could outperform manufactured drama. But growth also meant redefining success. It wasn't just about subscribers anymore. It was about impact. When viewers said they understood farming for the first time, that mattered more than views. When young farmers said the channel convinced them not to quit, that carried weight. At the same time, the spotlight never fully fades. Every season brings new risks, algorithm changes, public opinion shifts, and the reality that farming itself is never guaranteed. One bad year can undo a lot. Still, that's what keeps people watching. This isn't a highlight reel. It's an ongoing experiment in transparency, responsibility, and trust. And as long as the camera keeps rolling, the story keeps growing, right alongside the crops. At its core, the rise of MN Millennial Farmer isn't really about YouTube at all. It's about trust in an era where most content feels staged, filtered, or exaggerated. This channel grew because it did the opposite. It showed real work, real risk, and real consequences without trying to dress it up. And that's exactly why people stayed. What started as a way to document farm life turned into something much bigger. A living record of modern agriculture, told by someone actually in the field. Not a brand spokesperson, not a headline, just a farmer explaining his world as it unfolds. That honesty reshaped how millions see farming, even if they've never touched dirt themselves. And the future is still uncertain. Farming never guarantees success. Algorithms change, audiences shift. One bad season can rewrite everything. But maybe that's the point. This story isn't powerful because it's perfect. It's powerful because it's unfinished. As long as the work continues and the camera stays on, people will keep watching, not for drama, but for the truth, exactly as it is.